What is happening, all you mentees? This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, and join me today for an advanced look at some of these trades coming out on November 25th from Marvel Comics, so please stay tuned. And welcome back, everybody. Now, before we get started, a huge thank you to David Gabriel and the folks in Marvel for sending us advanced copies of these trades. The only one that's already been out for a couple of weeks now is this Star, Birth of a Dragon. So we're going to be looking at Conan first and going through each one, and then, of course, looking at all the spines. Again, these are available through the direct market first, and then a couple of weeks later through the book market. So here we have Conan, Battle for the Serpent Crown. Before reading this, I knew nothing about this story, other than the fact that Conan is wearing the Serpent Crown, and of course that comes from the Atlantis attack stories, so it has a lot to do with Namor, the Submariner, and Atlantis. And then we have Mephisto in the back. So, let's look in here. This book is written by Saladin Ahmed, and it's drawn by Luke Ross. And you can see here who some of the characters are that appear through here. This is a new character named Nyla. So it kicks off with Conan roaming the desert, and we have the narrator telling the story of the Sumerian as he's walking through here and what he's been through, and then stumbling across a city. So we're looking at modern day Conan walking into Vegas. That's right. That's where this takes place. He runs across some thieves, and one of them is Nyla, who introduces herself, and together they team up to steal something. And it's just ridiculous, but I freaking loved it. I couldn't put the stupid book down. It's awesome. And the thing that shocked me the most is Luke Ross's artwork. He has gone through so many changes ever since he started. I remember when he first started drawing comics, he was doing issues of, I think it was the Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, and he had a very Joe Mad kind of art style, and that usually means like you have a lot of anime mixed in there with your American art style. Now he is completely different. He reminds me a lot of like Mike Deodato or Steve Epting, for that matter. Like he has really developed and evolved into his own style, and it works. Just looking a little more at his artwork. So this does collect the 5-issue miniseries of the Battle for the Serpent Crown. They do advertise the Serpent War here at the very beginning, and I have not read that one. So this is pretty much, Conan fighting a bunch of modern heroes because he is here during this time. It does have ties to Mephisto. I'll let you figure that out because I don't want to spoil that. And then there's a bunch of secrets and things that happen within this series. The book has 112 pages, and like I mentioned, retails for $15.99. Now let's look in the back here for some extras. Of course, I'm censoring that magnificent last page because I don't want to spoil anything, but we kick off the variants over here to the right with a Tony S. Danielle variant. And then we have one here by Big John Buscema. Of course, this is with modern colors. And these are little thumbnails. I wish they were bigger. I wish they were full size, but I understand, that would raise the price. We have one by Luke Ross. I really like that one by Ben Caldwell. And then a few more back here. One by Philip Tan, Mike McCone down there. Let's keep going. Star, Birth of a Dragon. This is a pretty interesting collection. This retails for $15.99 and collects the 5-issue miniseries Star. And I'll talk a little bit about what that is, but right here is the big selling point for me anyway, and that is Kelly Thompson. And then you have artwork by Javier Pina, Felipe Andrade, and Jay Leestein, who's I think he inks most of the time Greg Land's artwork. So who is Star? Well, I knew her from her appearances in the Captain Marvel story by Kelly Thompson. So she's a very complicated character, and I don't think this is going to spoil anything, but she is a sort of a villain, right? She's an experiment gone wrong. She is Dr. Minerva's experiment where she was trying to do a super soldier between Kree and human, and she created Star. And now she's trying to find out who she is. And somehow she ended up with the Reality Stone. So you have all these characters coming after her, trying to get this Reality Stone from her. How she ended up with it, well, that's a different story. I do like the mix in the artwork here. I assume this is all Javier Pena. And then towards the end here, this is where you have Felipe Andrade, who has almost like an Humberto Ramos sketchy look to his artwork, like Sean Murphy, if you will. So, of course, Captain Marvel shows up. You have the Black Order show up because, of course, they want the Infinity Gem. That's right, Jim, not stone, regardless of what the movies tell you. This book has 112 pages, by the way. And again, retails for $15.99, collecting all 5 issues of the miniseries of Star, who is neither villain nor hero, and honestly, I kind of feel bad for her towards the end of this book. Now, let's look in the back here for the extras. Here's some variant covers in the back. This one here by Yi-Yoon Lee is freaking beautiful. And then you have Jeffrey Scott Campbell, Pepe Larraz, and Jim Bartel, and Phil Noto, just to name a few of the other variant artists. Next up is Star Wars Bounty Hunters, Galaxy's Deadliest. So that's exactly what we're reading about here. Some of the bounty hunters from Star Wars, whether they were from the movies or the Marvel comics, because this right here is Bayard Valance, who was a character created by Archie Goodwin in the original Marvel Comics run of Star Wars. And this is written by Ethan Sachs, and it's got artwork by Paolo Villanelli. So he is teaming up with Bossk and Boba Fett to go on a mission. And he's sent on this mission by his old mentor, Nakano Lash. And she shows up here towards the beginning to kind of let them know where they can go on a mission and what they have to retrieve. And of course, they haven't forgotten that they were originally betrayed by these people. And there's a lot of backstories here that tie into the original Star Wars run. And what I was going to say is there's a lot of characters that show up here that are canon in the Star Wars comic universe, the Marvel universe. Some of them you've seen in the pages of Darth Vader. Some of them you've seen in Jason Aaron's run of Star Wars. But I did want to point that out. I love that this... Well, I guess it's all canon now, right? If it's Disney and Lucas, like, it's all canon. So this is all part of a big story. So this takes place immediately after the events of Empire Strikes Back. And I mean immediately. Like, Boba Fett, towards the beginning, still has Han Solo in Carbonite, and he's delivering him to Jabba the Hutt, where he gets stopped, and they're like, hey, we need to team up to go and do this mission. And he's like, oh, yeah, sure, I'm a bounty hunter. But I thought that was really cool. Like, most of the stories that are happening now in Star Wars, as far as the comics, are taking place after Empire Strikes Back, including the other story I'm going to talk about here in a few minutes. And there's Bossk, and I love these covers here, too. So, speaking of covers, we'll look at the back here in a second to look at the variant covers, but this book has 120 pages, retails for $17.99. And before we look at the extras in the back, this is collecting the first 5 issues of this new ongoing series. I don't think this is a mini-series. Censoring that final page, of course, and on the right-hand side, you see like a breakdown of Valance's body parts, right? Because he's obviously not completely human. And he has a lot of ties to Han Solo, like they were both cadets in the same academy growing up. And here's some variant covers, the movie variant, of course, and then the Phil Noto variant for issue 2. Next up is Fantastic Four Empire. So this is volume 6 of the Fantastic Four by Dan Slott run. It's got artwork in here by Paco Medina, and it also collects a couple of other stories in here, such as the Empire #0 Fantastic Four. Yep, right there. Fantastic Four 21 through 24, and then the Aftermath of Empire Fallout Fantastic Four. And all of it written by Dan Slott. Paco Medina, R.B. Silva are some of the artists. And when I did an overview of the Road to Empire and then the Empire trade paperback, I talked about this issue right here. That sets up the events of Empire. So you have the Katati versus the Kree and the Skrull, and of course, Earth gets involved. And of course, you're going to involve the Fantastic Four. And they're going to be, at first, on opposing sides of the Avengers. Now, let's look at some of this artwork in here, though. So it looks like they're putting variants on the opposite page of the standard edition covers. But this one here, man, that is awesome. That is Nick Bradshaw. And it's a take on the new Fantastic Four. So you have Spider-Man and Wolverine, and of course Sue and her son, Franklin. But we're also missing Ghost Rider and the Hulk, right? Because they were the new Fantastic Four. And here's beautiful, wonderful artwork by Paco Medina, who I have been following this guy's work, and I'm waiting for the day for this guy to just blow up and do some flagship titles. Well, I guess Fantastic Four is considered a flagship title. What the hell am I talking about? It's getting an oversized hardcover, so of course it is. But here's some more of his artwork. Why does Franklin Richards' hair look black? Well, That actually has something to do with the story when they come back in Dan Slott's run. Here's some of the splash pages with Wolvie and Spidey. And they're protecting these two kids. One's a Kree and one's a Skrull. That are enemies at first. And they're really cute stories. And I can't show very many pages from the Aftermath because it kind of spoils what happens in the pages of Empire. So we're just going to keep showing some of these in here. Internal artwork. And then looking in the back here. This book has 144 pages, retails for $17.99. And because you saw some of the variants in between issues, these are the only variants we have in the very back. And these are the variant covers by Alex Ross. And here is where I want to just remind you all to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Here's what all the spines look like together. If you want to pause, if you want to put me on mute, whatever you want to do, go for it. Now, let's keep going. Here we have the latest Oz collection in graphic novel format. Oz, the complete collection, Road to Emerald City. So these are graphic novels geared more towards kids. As you can tell here from the spine, they're a little bit smaller format, but the page counts are a lot bigger. This one, for example, has 240 pages. So this is a retelling of the Oz novels written by Eric Shanower, who does provide some of the variant covers. And I love this story. This has been available in trade paperback. It's been available in deluxe edition hardcovers. It's been available in standard size hardcovers. And one big omnibus. And the artwork in here, I'm sure you recognize, is by Scotty Young. This is one of the books I recommend to every parent, to not just for yourself, but for your kids, right? You don't want to give your kid a $100 omnibus and then have them tear it up. These are perfect for kids. This is the kind of stuff I give my children for them to read, for them to enjoy and do whatever they want to with it. Yeah, sure, you want to draw a mustache on Dorothy, have at it. These are beautiful books, though. I don't think they'll destroy it by drawing a mustache on Dorothy. I don't know. I was a weird kid. Maybe I did it. But this one retails for $15.99 and again has 240 pages, collecting 2 of the story arcs of Oz. And I think this one, we may have one more to wrap it up, but just look at some of this beautiful artwork by Scotty Young. I loved when he changed it up, because he had a very anime-ish look when he first started to his art. And then he changed it up and had more detail and sketchiness to it. So, I mean, he really evolved into what he is now. And, from time to time he still draws internal artwork. So it was really good to see him in I Hate Fairyland, which actually is really borrows heavily from a lot of the elements that he used here. So let's look in the back here for some extras. I was lying. There's a farewell to Oz letter at the very end. Dang it. So this is the final issue. Or the final volume, rather. Here's all the covers back here. They don't put the covers in the chapters. In between chapters, rather. They're all saved for back here. Dang, I wish they had kept going with more of the books. Because I think there were a total of 18 books, if I'm not mistaken. And then, Chris Buckalow variant there. And what other books are available from the Oz series. Captain America, Sharon Carter. This book retails for $24.99 and collects the adventures of Sharon Carter all the way from her first appearance here in Tales of Suspense number 75. There's an introduction here by Ralph Macchio, not the Karate Kid. That joke will never get old. Anybody else watching Cobra Kai? Oh man, I love that series. Anyway, back to this. So this collects Captain America, Sentinel of Liberty, number 1. Captain America, the 2004 series, 16 and 17. That's the Ed Brubaker and Steve Epting run. Captain America and the Secret Avengers, number 1. Material from Tales of Suspense, 75 through 76, 85. And then Age of Heroes, number 3. So it kicks off with, like I mentioned, her first appearance. So this is all just stories about the secret operative agent known as Agent 13, Sharon Carter. She is the world's most capable secret agent until she meets her match in Captain America. So it's a span throughout the years of their story and how, well, she was gone for a long time, right? Here's Mark Waid and Ron Garney, Sentinel of Liberty. Some of these have been already collected in trade paperback. Some of them have been collected in the omnibus of Ed Brubaker and Mark Waid's omnibus. So here we go. Let's keep going with this Ron Garney artwork. I find it interesting because that story doesn't really wrap up with the first issue. It's just kind of gives you a small taste of what the Sentinel of Liberty is. And here's the Steve Epting, Ed Brubaker, Sharon Carter storyline. And I don't think I've read this one back here. This is Captain America and the Secret Avengers. This is by Kelly Sue DeConnick and Greg Tocchini. And his artwork, I've been a big fan of his art for a long time. He's the one that did Low with Rick Remender. But I've never read this story. So I can't flip too much through there because I've not read it. And then we have some extras here in the back, like original art. Just original art. 160 pages, and again, retails for $24.99. Star Wars, Darth Vader, Dark Heart of the Sith. I love that these books all have that border around them. And I don't know if it's because I just recently started rewatching the Star Wars saga with my oldest daughter. I saw it with Lydia when she was about 5, and I wanted her to appreciate it more, so we're starting again with episode 4, because that's the way her father does it. So we're doing the original trilogy, 4, 5, and 6, and then we're going back to 1, 2, and 3, and then finishing it off with 6, 7, and 8. How do you all watch them? Do you all watch them in chronological order, or in the order they were released? So where the heck was I? Okay, so this is a brand new Darth Vader story. The ending of the first issue, I have to be really careful with this one, because the ending of the first issue is the one that the entire internet was talking about. So I can't flip too much through this book. So this is written by Greg Pak, and it's got artwork by Rafael Lenko, who I have not seen his artwork before, but he is freaking awesome. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Steve McNiven's artwork. So we are reliving scenes from Empire Strikes Back, because this takes place immediately after Empire Strikes Back. And the premise of the story is pretty simple. Darth Vader wants to know who corrupted his son, who corrupted Luke Skywalker to turn against him, like who raised him. So he goes through Luke's past and trying to figure out where he was raised, why he is the way that he is, why he is not following in his father's footsteps in the way of the Sith. So he follows the tracks all the way back to the beginning of A New Hope, and he has flashbacks there, of course, from episodes 1, 2, and 3. And then, at the end of this issue, as he's following these tracks, there is a surprise character that shows up, and I cannot reveal who that is. But believe me when I say, now it makes sense why the internet was blowing up. How can you retcon this? What does this mean? But I will let you find out for yourself. You can be happy, you can be mad, and all I can say is just not everything seems what it is. So this is the first 5 issues of the new ongoing series for those of you keeping tabs. Finding a couple of more pages with just flashbacks so I can show you some more of his artwork, and then this awesome splash page back here. And then we're going to be looking at the extras in the back. This book has 128 pages and retails for $15.99. Censoring that final page, but here is the Tony Danielle variant, and then we have Mike Del Mundo and a bunch of other artists here, these little thumbnails. And where else you can follow the adventures of Star Wars. Excalibur by Tini Howard Volume 2 is finally here. So this retails for $17.99 and collects Excalibur 7 through 12. So this is the, I don't know, it's an interesting and probably one of the most unique X titles in the Dawn of X era. And I'm not going to lie, this is the title that I was just... This and Fallen Angels were the 2 titles that... And they feature my girl, Betsy Braddock, and Quanon, and Psylocke. Whatever they're going by these days. Captain Britain. And I don't know what it was about this title. I just couldn't get into it. And then finally, with about issue 4 and 5, I finally started seeing what Tini Howard was doing. And it kind of reminded me a lot of the stories told by Chris Claremont in those early days of Excalibur. So it has a lot of magical and fantasy elements. And it's always nice to see little Easter eggs of characters from the past. So the Werewolves are back. And actually, it's quite adorable what happens in this storyline, so I can't reveal too much about it. And this storyline does feature Richter, features Rogue, Gambit, Psylocke, of course, Jubilee, and Apocalypse. Is anybody else pronouncing his name just A? Surely I'm not the only one that still calls him Apocalypse. And it's always nice to see the other characters from Excalibur's past years, like Megan and Pete Wisdom, show up, too. Now, this book has 160 pages, retails for $17.99, and that's just the first story arc I was talking about with the Werewolves. Later on, other things appear, other magical things appear, but let's look at the extras here in the back, making sure none of the covers spoil anything. I promise they're not going to get beheaded. not happening. All of this is leading up to the X of Swords. As a matter of fact, X of Swords is the next story arc after the events that happen in this particular trade paperback. And the other character that shows up besides Jubilee is her son, Shogo. And here's all the little variants back here. And that, as they say, is that. Now, these trades are currently available from our sponsor, who is getting ready to have a sale.
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off the cover price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. Beginning Thanksgiving morning, visit their bargain bin for Black Friday deals up to 90% off cover price. New items will be added throughout the day and the rest of the holiday season. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discounts, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more.
And that was the content and page count of each of these trades. Let me know in the comments down below which ones you're picking up, which ones you're going to wait for the omnibus, which ones you're waiting for an oversized hardcover, or if the trade format is the way that you pick up books. I'd love to know all those comments down below. Please don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button, and ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. Speaking of live, don't forget to join Wonder Maddie and the amazing Amanda tonight on Old Reader, New Reader. This was the Uncanny Omar. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, everybody, stay healthy, stay safe, and much love to all of you.